YouTube, what's up? Frogs Angels back with an updated 2-round NFL mock draft. Pre-Senior Bowl, pre-Super Bowl. Senior Bowl's this week, so we're going to learn a lot from this week. Can't wait for that. But let's get into it. The top pick has changed for me. I got Sam Darnold first overall. Do I think this should be the pick, or would I make this pick if I was the Browns? No. I'm not super high on Darnold. I prefer Rosen over him at the moment. Sounds like teams are concerned with Rosen with his intangibles, and I don't know. As of now, I expect Darnold to be the first overall pick. I honestly, if I was the Browns, I'd probably stick with Kaiser. You got a ton of picks in this draft to build around him. I mean, Darnold's gonna be like going back to step one again. You got to teach this guy everything. And I mean, Kaiser had a rough year, but he picked up on some stuff. I think if you build around him, obviously, it seems like quarterback isn't as an important position as it maybe used to be. So I think with all these other picks, you can build around him, and you can be a decent team. The Browns are in a position that they can get a young quarterback that needs time to develop because they're a rebuild team. I don't know if Hugh Jackson feels the same about that. You know, his job's on the line. He pretty much needs to win now. So I don't know how he'll like this pick, but really it's not 100% up to him. As of now, it sounds like it's going to be Darnold. It sounds like they're going to go quarterback, even though I probably would skip the quarterback. Maybe if one dropped to you in the second round, then go with one. But so again, I wouldn't make this pick. It's just what I think will happen. Pick number 2, the Giants. I have them taking Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State. Could be the best player in the draft. They could go quarterback. They supposedly want the quarterback of the future to learn behind Eli Manning. Problem is, you got your best player in the draft most likely sitting here. I think Shermer, their new coach, will like Barkley a lot. It's going to be hard for him to pass on him. He likes running the ball. With him sitting here and his ability to run the ball at a high level and catch the ball at the backfield at a high level, I think Shermer will really like Barkley, so it's going to be hard for him to pass. But the Giants they were a solid team. They were in the playoffs 2 years ago. You know, they got a good team. They have to believe, the organization believes they're good enough to be in the playoffs this year, this next year. If they didn't have bad coaching or if they didn't have injuries, they had to believe they were going to be in the playoffs. So do they want to get a backup quarterback in there to help them contend to get back to the playoffs or even further? That's not going to help them. I know it's going to help them in the future, but Barkley's going to help them day one. So it's something I can see them doing for the Giants. It could be a quarterback of the future as well. I'd be surprised if it's anything else, even though they do need an offensive line, probably a few offensive linemen pretty badly. Third pick, I got the Colts going with Bradley Chubb, edge rusher from NC State. Colts' biggest need is offensive line, but Bradley Chubb also fills a need, and he would be the best player available between the edge rushers and the offensive linemen. Probably the best player available, period, at this point. Pass rushing is probably the most important thing in football now. It's something that seems like it's quarterback play. So get Chubb in there. He can do good things for you right away. Helps the pass rush. Would be a good pick. Number 4, I got the Browns taking Minkah Fitzpatrick, a DB from Alabama. Could play corner, could play safety. More and more people are starting to think he could be a corner. He might have a better chance of being a corner than a safety in the NFL. Browns could use either one. They can use him to play alongside Jabril Peppers. They can use a starting corner. Either way, he's their best defensive back day one. Best player on the board at this point. The 5th pick, I got the Broncos taking Josh Rosen. You kind of have to if he drops here. I mean, the Giants may feel like they have to if he drops to 2. Teams are worried about his intangibles. Maybe his passion of the game, some teams are concerned about. But the Broncos needing a quarterback, I'd be surprised if they pass on him. I know they like Baker Mayfield. I know they like Josh Allen. But Josh Rosen, probably to them, they really don't expect him to drop here maybe, so I think they would have to take him. 6th pick, Jets, Baker Mayfield, quarterback, Oklahoma. I've been moving him up and down. Lately, it sounds like teams like him. It sounds like they really like him. There's a report that if he was a little taller, he'd be the first pick. So that means it can't be thrown off every team. Every team can't be disappointed at how short he is. They have to like his play. Teams like him. They like his accuracy. They like how he's a smart player. So I think he'll go early. I like the Jets taking him. Could be Josh Allen, but I like the Jets taking Baker Mayfield with the 6th pick. 7th pick, I got the Buccaneers taking Joshua Jackson, corner, Iowa. They need pass rushers more than anything. I think this is too early for the other ones. Maybe Harold Landry, maybe a little early. Maybe they trade back. But Joshua Jackson's worthy of the pick. He's the best corner in this draft. He could lead the league in interceptions early on in his career. So the Bucs also need defensive backs. I think they need quite a few of them, but they need pass rush more. So I'm not always a big need guy. I don't want to reach a little bit for a need. I'm looking at best player available. If the best player available is a position that you're just stacked on or something, then you look at the next best player available. That's how I always viewed the draft for years. So I like Jackson, 7th overall. 8th pick, the Bears. Bears are a tricky one here, but I'm taking Roquan Smith, linebacker, Georgia, another potential best player available situation, but it's also a need now. Defense was good, but they're talking about releasing or trying to trade some of these linebackers like McPhee, who's an excellent player but can't stay on the field. Freeman, another guy that can't stay on the field. Roquan Smith can come in there and be a starter day one. He's capable of that. Very smart player, awareness. If his Madden rating for awareness probably should be a 99. It won't be, but it probably should be, even as a rookie. So I like Roquan Smith, definitely worthy of the pick. The Bears do need a receiver pretty badly. Is there a receiver worth the 8th pick? Maybe Courtland Sutton, in my opinion. But look at the receivers over the last few years that were taken early, even the first round receivers. They haven't been working out. Teams are hitting way better in day 2 or day 3 with receivers, so it could scare teams off. Even though I really like the receivers in this draft, I like the depth. I like the early round receivers. They might drop, and it's understandable, even though I really like them. But I got the Bears taking Roquan Smith, come in there and start day one. Hey, Roquan Smith with Leonard Floyd, that's the Georgia duo. I like that for Chicago. On to pick number 9, the Niners. Quentin Nelson, offensive lineman, Notre Dame. Hard to see him passing on Quentin Nelson on this point. One of my best players in the draft. Maybe the most sure prospect, sure thing. I expect this guy to be a Pro Bowler early. The question is how early is too early to take a guard. That's why I have him dropping the 9. Teams I know have rules. Don't take a quarterback or a guard in the top 10. Don't take him in the top 20. I think offensive line is getting more and more important because pass rush seems to be the most important thing in football. I know that's more on the tackles, but I think Quentin Nelson can go somewhere around this range, and he's definitely worth the pick. Number 10, I got the Raiders taking Rashaan Evans, linebacker from Alabama. Raiders need a linebacker pretty badly. They also need a corner, I think, and maybe an offensive lineman, but Evans, I think, is a guy that makes players around him better. I think he's worthy of the pick. Some people have him late first, early second. I really like Rashaan Evans. I know Gruden will. And it definitely fills the need. So I got the Raiders taking Evans there. 11th pick, Dolphins. I haven't taken Orlando Brown, offensive lineman, Oklahoma. He can go as high as 3 to the Colts. Colts with that big need for an offensive lineman. I like Orlando Brown in pass blocking and run blocking. You catch him downfield a lot. I really like Orlando Brown. Dolphins could use an offensive lineman. They could use a linebacker. Quarterback, too. It depends on Tannehill. I think they're pretty confident that Tannehill is their guy. So Orlando Brown might be the best player available. Could start day one for him. 12th pick, I got the Bengals taking Derwin James, safety from Florida State. Excellent defensive back. Like him a lot. I think maybe not the Bengals' biggest need, but they could use a safety. I think maybe George Aloka's not as good as he once was. Not that he still wouldn't start. I think Aloka could play alongside James here, but it just makes them better. Just gets those DBs back to maybe where they were. I think Derwin James can do a lot for that defense. 13th pick, Jerome Payne, defense lineman, Alabama. One of the big risers, hell of a national championship game from him. I think the Redskins need some interior D-line help, and there you go. There's your guy right there. They could take a quarterback, could take a safety if Derwin James drops one more spot there, but I got him taking Jerome Payne, excellent football player, another guy from Alabama. Number 14, I got the Packers taking Jermaine Edmunds, another big riser linebacker from Virginia Tech. I think the Packers, if they stick to that 3-4 defense, I think he'll play one of the inside positions. I know he's capable of playing inside or outside. That's why I like Edmunds. I think that's why everyone else likes Edmunds. He's all over the field. Packers need this guy. They got some good tacklers at the linebacker position, but some guys getting old. Some guys maybe just not as good overall as you can get. They could get better here with Edmunds. I like him a lot. Seems to be a big riser. 15, I got the Cardinals taking Josh Allen, quarterback, Wyoming. A little early for my liking for Josh Allen is play against top competition. Wasn't really there. If you watch the highlight tape of Josh Allen, you're going to love him, but you're not going to see negatives in the highlight tape. Highlight tape's maybe one of the best I've ever seen for a quarterback, but again, it's only the positives, and it's against bad competition. So I know some teams really like him. The Cardinals obviously need a quarterback sitting at 15. They could be a team that trades up for a better one, but if they stay here, it could be a Josh Allen. It could be maybe Baker Mayfield range. So we'll see. For now, I got Allen 15th overall. Number 16, Ravens, Courtland Sutton, wide receiver, SMU. Ravens need a receiver badly. I expect this to be a wide receiver. Depends on just which one they think is the number one wide receiver. I know most people think Calvin Ridley. I have Courtland Sutton. Calvin Ridley is a hell of a football player. He's probably a first-round talent. I'm just not as high on him as other guys like Courtland Sutton. But again, teams could get scared of taking the wide receiver early. But I don't know if the Ravens will. I think they'll do their homework on all these receivers. They may have their choice on them. Should be interesting. But I like Sutton. He's got a crazy potential. Crazy potential. 17th pick, Chargers. I got him taking Mike McGlinchey, offensive lineman, Notre Dame. Chargers, pretty balanced team. I think Phillip Rivers is still playing surprisingly at a high level. Some mistakes here and there. But if you get this guy some protection, then it can make him better. So I think that's what they'll do with the 17th pick. Mike McGlinchey, good first-round talent. Maybe I'm not as high on him as some other people. Some people say top 10. May struggle a little bit in pass protection early on, but no doubt in my mind he'll be a good football player. 18th overall, the Seahawks. I'm taking Darius Geis, running back, LSU. I've had this pick. This is probably the third mock draft I've had the same pick. I just like it. I just like Geis on the Seahawks. Get Russell Wilson a good running back. I know they have running backs that I like. They're hurt and they keep swapping who they play. Like all of a sudden, this Thomas Rawls guy, I didn't even really know who he was, and they got him in there. He's good, but then he's not in there, maybe because he's hurt. When he comes back, he's still not in there. So I don't know what they're doing. I think they got to get a sure thing running back, and Geis is the second best running back in this draft. So I like him going to the Seahawks. Cowboys need a lot of defense, but I have them taking Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Alabama, just because I don't think he gets past this point. I know a lot of teams, a lot of experts like Calvin Ridley. He's supposed to go higher than this. So I don't know if he gets past this point. They do need a receiver pretty badly, so it makes sense, but they do need quite a bit of defensive help. They need to re-sign some guys in free agency, maybe get some other guys in free agencies, but they've got some young pieces, so their defense I expect to be better next year, even if they don't take a defensive player in the first round. But they do need some defensive help, but they need a receiver. I think Jerry Jones will like Calvin Ridley. 20th pick, Lions taking Denzel Ward, corner from Ohio State. Another guy that could go earlier in this. I think him being under 6 foot, it's not much under 6 foot, but that could drop him a little bit because, teams really like those bigger corners these days. It's not like 10 years ago, every corner was 5'10". But he's a hell of a football player from Ohio State. They keep producing better corners, more corners every year. So the Lions getting a guy to play alongside Darius Slay could be scary. So I like that pick. Bills got 2 picks in a row. 21, Mason Rudolph, quarterback, Oklahoma State. Mason Rudolph, very underrated, not getting enough first-round talk. I like him a lot. I mean, accurate thrower, smart player. He's not like a winner like Deshaun Watson was last year, but he's a winner compared to some of these other quarterbacks. He wins games. Teams worried about his velocity on the ball, how hard he can throw the ball. His deep ball looks fine. It looks very accurate, looks far enough. Really the question is that the 15-yard out, which some will say is the hardest throw in football. Throws like that, not specifically that throw, but some are worried about the velocity on his ball for those throws. Can he hit those tight windows on the outside? That's what they're worried about. Sounds like what people were worried about with Deshaun Watson. He threw, I don't know, miles per hour at the combine. It was lower than the other quarterbacks. It's just stupid stuff to be worried about. The guy did just fine this season. I think he's a smart player. I think he'll pick stuff up. I think Mason Rudolph, not to compare Rudolph and Watson at all, nothing similar, and Watson's much better prospect, so I don't want to get anybody confused on what I'm trying to say there, but seems like the same negatives that teams were worried about. Not that important. In my opinion, I think he'll be just fine. I like him going to the Bills. I think they wanted to go away from that Tyrod Taylor. That's why they were putting Peterman in. Mason Rudolph they can do what Peterman does, but way better. So I like him to the Bills. 22, I got the Bills taking Arden Key, edge rusher from LSU. Maybe too good to pass at this point. They do need to get some younger guys on the defense. Arden Key's a weird prospect. Ton of potential. Weird thing about Arden Key is I have a comparison of Leonard Floyd, who is the Bears edge rusher. I've seen some other experts with the same comparison, and style of play is why is the comparison. But the weird thing is the problem with Floyd was his weight. The Bears wanted to beef him up, get him bigger. Same thing happened to Arden Key. It's the same thing on the field, same thing with the weight problems. But he gained the weight, and he seems like he's not playing at the level that he was when he was more athletic. His preferred weight, I should say. So it's an interesting prospect, very interesting prospect. Has the potential. I think he played better in his earlier years. This year, he wasn't always on the field because of injury and stuff. So it's an interesting prospect. He has a lot of potential. He may not get past this point. Maybe too high of a ceiling to get past this point. Rams 23. I've been taking Carlton Davis, corner from Auburn. I like Carlton Davis a lot. Shut down Calvin Ridley, a guy that I just had going pick number 19. So Tremaine Johnson is a free agent. I expect him to come back, but you still need somebody alongside him. They do have other guys that are solid, but true number one corners is key in the NFL. So I like Carlton Davis, the Rams. Rams pretty balanced team. Don't really need anything like super bad, but I like that pick. 24, probably the biggest riser in the draft, to the Panthers. Marcus Davenport, edge rusher from Texas San Antonio. A lot of upside here. He could even go earlier in this. The way things are going, he's really rising up the board. Panthers have bigger needs, but they got to freshen up that edge rushing group. It played at a high level last few years. Julius Peppers getting old. Maybe he's going to retire. So keep it at a high level. This will be a smart pick. Pass rush, most important thing in football, like I already said. So get a young guy in here with a lot of potential. Keep that pass rush fresh. Next pick, 25th pick, to the Titans. I got Isaiah Oliver, corner from Colorado. Long physical corner, good in man coverage. Titans, different coaching staff, so maybe they'll go away a little bit from the man coverage, but they liked it a lot. Everybody still runs man, so I like Isaiah Oliver. Colorado, it's like Ohio State and Colorado keep producing these defensive backs, so I like Oliver. 26th pick, Falcons, Maurice Hurst, defensive lineman, Michigan. Not a bunch of huge needs for the Falcons. Could use another interior D line. Maurice Hurst, definitely worthy of this pick. Could go earlier in this. I like the Falcons taking a tight end too, possibly in the first round, maybe second. I think that's what they're missing for that high-powered offense. 27th pick, the Saints, Harold Landry, edge rusher from Boston College. Excellent pass rusher. I think this is a guy that should go earlier in this, but will probably go in this range. At the moment, things could change. Still early. I like him actually a little better than Arden Key, just because Arden Key's inconsistencies. But Harold Landry led the nation in sacks 2 years ago. I think he can play as a 3-4 outside linebacker. I think he can play as a 4-3 DN. That's why I like this guy so much. So Saints, pass rush is pretty good, but a little bit of an upgrade here. I think they could use him right away. And maybe too good to pass. 28th pick, Steelers, Malik Jefferson, linebacker, Texas. Obviously need another linebacker with Shazier, unfortunate injury. So Malik Jefferson's a guy that could be up at the top of the league in tackles early on in his career. Very smart player. He's been showing it since he was a freshman, so I like that pick. 29th pick, the Jags taking Ronnie Harrison, safety from Alabama. Another pick, I think these next two picks, 29 and 30, will be maybe the most interesting picks come draft time. Will they take a quarterback? I think they like Bortles. Bortles played a pretty good game in the AFC Championship game. Could have done better, obviously, missed some throws. But I think they'll stick with Bortles. They don't have a bunch of huge needs. I think the safeties played good this year, but Barry Church getting up there in age, Gibson too. I think they could use another guy there. I like Ronnie Harrison a lot. Before it was like borderline for me. He's really moving up. He's really moving. Smart player, flies around to the ball. Another Bama guy. Everyone's been talking about Minkah Fitzpatrick could possibly play. Well, they know he can play corner, but no one said Ronnie Harrison. I think this guy can. I like him at safety better, but I think this guy has the ability to play corner. These guys that can do both are are very smart players. They're just football players. They're great players. It's not like a Jabril Peppers where he played all over the place and didn't have enough snaps where his true NFL position was and didn't really play at a high level there. It's not like that at all. I think Ronnie Harrison is going to be a safety. He's a damn good football player. He's definitely a big riser for me. Another very interesting pick, number 30, the Vikings. I have them taking Lamar Jackson, quarterback Louisville. Now, I don't know if I see them doing this, honestly. Really anybody. Is everybody going to get scared of taking Lamar Jackson? Is everybody going to think they're doing the right thing by taking more of a pro-style quarterback? I think Lamar Jackson can throw. I think he can throw very well. Just my thinking is, how are teams going to stop his running ability? The only scary thing is, since he runs so much, is he going to get hurt? That's really the only thing for me. Does need to work on his passing a little bit, but I think it's there. I think the Vikings are a team. Bradford was good, but it wasn't really working out because he was not a mobile quarterback. Every time he would get rushed, you'd take a sack. So Keenum being a little more mobile helped the Vikings a lot, and I think they need a mobile quarterback. I really like Lamar Jackson. I don't know. Last year, I liked him a lot as a college player, and I was like, I don't know if this guy's going to be a good pro, but after this year, I really like him. After seeing the Vikings, are we going to talk about the fact that the Vikings, the best defense in football, got destroyed by a college offense in the NFC Championship? That RPO offense. These top defenses just can't stop that? Is this league going to turn into an RPO league? Lamar Jackson, imagine if Lamar Jackson was on that team. Imagine if they had a running quarterback. Like Carson Wentz could have done it better, but when Carson Wentz was in, they didn't always do that. So I just think Lamar Jackson is going to be a scary football player. The way this league's looking the way it's headed, you're going to have to stop that run somehow. It's going to be hard to stop. I know going from college tackling to NFL tackling is a lot different, but he makes guys miss, and he's going to be the fastest quarterback ever. I think he's faster than Vic. Especially long distance going down the field. I don't know. I like Lamar Jackson a lot. Will the Vikings make this pick? I don't know. I'm sure Teddy could be the guy of the future. I like Teddy Bridgewater a lot. Was very high on him. But is he going to be 100%? You can get two Louisville quarterbacks in there. If I'm a team and I'm playing Lamar Jackson, I'm just scared. That's all I'm saying. I like Lamar Jackson a lot. Number 31. I got the Patriots taking Sony Michel, running back, Georgia. Had this pick last time. I like Sony Michel a lot. I think he's for sure first-round running back. I've heard he won't get past the 45th pick, is what some GMs, executives are saying. So he's definitely on the rise. Great running back. You know, Patriots will like a guy like this. Deion Lewis is a free agent, so you never know what the Patriots are going to go with, but it'll be right, whatever they do. So I like Sony Michel. And 32nd pick, Eagles take Connor Williams, offensive lineman, Texas. Eagles don't have a bunch of huge needs. Could use another offensive lineman, I guess. So Connor Williams being the best player available. Very interesting prospect, too. Some mocks, you see him top 5 even. Some are second round. That's because inconsistency. Some games you look at him and it's not a first rounder. You know that for a fact. And some it looks like he's definitely the best lineman prospect in this draft. So it's a tough prospect to tell where he's going to go. But on to the second round. We got the color-coded second round again. Players' names are colored with their school, obviously. Pretty sure everybody figured that out before I was done saying it. But the Browns, I got them going with Kerryon Johnson, running back, Auburn. Doesn't really have that right way of the running back. Not just like Le'Veon Bell. He's a very similar running back to Le'Veon Bell. Didn't go first round because it wasn't textbook running, but he gets the job done at a high level. Very smart running back. Catches the ball out of the backfield too. Very underrated pass catcher. So Browns could use Kerryon Johnson. He could be their best running back right away, even though they got some decent ones still. Giants, I had them taking Saquon Barkley in the first. I got them taking Martinez Rankin, Mississippi State offensive lineman. They do need offensive line help. The only thing with that is tough to see 2 picks without a quarterback. But I could see them going with Eli, and then maybe Shermer brings over one of those Vikings guys. Maybe Bradford is a backup. He could be better than Eli right now. So get that running back. Make sure the line's good to go. I would like that draft plan. Browns. James Washington, wide receiver, Oklahoma State. I like James Washington a lot. Might be a first-round talent. Excellent deep ball guy. Teams worry about his transitioning into the NFL. Can he run all the routes? I don't know. I like James Washington. Catches the ball, good after the catch, he's fast, gets open. I think that's Kaiser's type of guy. Even though I have him taking Darnold, I think he can work out with that offense. Could possibly be a first rounder. Colts, I have them taking Oakford, offensive lineman from Western Michigan. Big need, their biggest need. I am taking a pass rusher in the first, though, so I expect offensive lineman. If they don't in the first, I expect that in the second. Jets, I have them taking Jair Alexander, Louisville corner. One of my favorite players in the draft. I think should be a first rounder. Lockdown corner, makes big plays, under 6 foot, so maybe drops because of that a little bit. But Jets need a corner. I really like Jair Alexander. Another guy I really like, Bucks taking Josh Sweat, Florida State edge rusher. Now this guy got hurt, didn't get hurt. He might be a top 10 pick. This guy's got a ton of potential. He's a freak. Bucks need pass rush big time. This would be an excellent pick. Bears are next. We talk about the Bears' biggest need being receiver. I did not have them taking one in the first, so I had Christian Kirk dropping to the second here. That would be an excellent pick. Christian Kirk can pretty much do it all. Probably should be another first-round receiver, but again, I think the receivers might slide a little bit. Teams might get scared of taking him in the first because of the past. Bears can come away at Roquan Smith and Christian Kirk. That would be one hell of a draft. Broncos had them grabbing a quarterback first round. Now I'm taking Mark Andrews, tight end, Oklahoma. Could possibly go first round. I think they need a tight end. They need some other stuff too, but I think this could really help their new quarterback out, really can help that offense out. Good red zone threat, very smart football player. Raiders. I got the Raiders taking Vita Vea, interior D lineman from Washington. And the thing on Vita Vea, I didn't have him in the first round in the last few drafts. I know a lot of people were complaining about that. You see a lot of mock drafts, him going high. Now, I explained it before that I just don't know if he'll go. He could go in the first, but I just don't think he will because every year there's a guy that drops, like an interior D lineman that drops. Nobody knows why. It's because he's mainly a run stuffer. Maybe he can't be on pass plays, passing downs early. I think he can develop as a pass rusher, but he's just, do you take a guy early, first round early, if he's just a run stuffer? I know the running back seems to be coming back in the league. Running backs are doing well, being used more, being a factor. So maybe a team like that, a good team like the Lions, Redskins, Cowboys, that are going to be pretty desperate to stop the run because they didn't do it well last year. Maybe those teams take it, and maybe it's not a bad pick. You gotta get what you need, but I can see him dropping is really all I'm saying. Something interesting I saw a mock draft from CBS last week, and it actually had Vita Vea going 17th overall to the Chargers, and I just want to read the description. I got to go to the end of it here. Thought it was very interesting. While also providing enough quickness to penetrate into the backfield on some third downs. That's the end of the description on Vita Vea, and the key word is some. Basically what I was saying. And into the backfield on some third downs. Do you take that in the first round? This guy that has him going 17th overall, which is high, he had him going to the Chargers, seems to think some third downs is worthy of the 17th pick. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say it is or it isn't, but I can very much see him dropping because of that reason. I've seen many defensive tackles drop because of that reason in the past. So that's why I have him down here. He can definitely go first round. I'm not ruling it out. But enough about Vita Vea. On to the next one. Dolphins, Jerome Baker, Ohio State, linebacker. Dolphins could use a linebacker pretty badly. I didn't have him taking one in the first, so I had him taking one in the second. Patriots, Tavares McFadden, corner from Florida State. Looked like maybe a top 15 pick last year. Drops a little bit now, but I mean, these Florida State corners, the two all-pro corners, Xavier Rhodes and Jalen Ramsey, they play together at Florida State. Florida State corners can play. Florida State guys can play, so Patriots could use another corner, maybe too good to pass. Redskins, I'm taking Texas ball hawk Deshaun Elliott. Guy's a pick machine. Maybe a guy that sneaks in late first. I actually was thinking about him to the Jags at the end of the first, but I had Ronnie Harrison there. Elliott, good player, gets interceptions, knows the game. Redskins could use another safety. Packers, I have him taking Mike Hughes, Central Florida corner, good technique, knows how to play the position. Packers could grab one in the first, but I had him grabbing a linebacker in the first, so now Mike Hughes to pair with their rookie corner from last year, Kevin King. Bengals, got him taking Billy Price, center/guard from Ohio State. Bengals lost a lot of offensive linemen before this last season, so They need to get that together. I like Billy Price, could possibly be a first rounder. Cardinals, another possible first rounder. Anthony Miller does everything right, pretty much does everything you could ask a receiver. Borderline 6 feet tall, so maybe if he's under. Same with Christian Kirk. Similar players. I think Anthony Miller's a better route runner. I think route running may be the biggest challenge for receivers coming in the NFL. Maybe that's why they don't work out. It's usually if a receiver doesn't work out in the NFL, a lot of the time it's because route running ability to learn the NFL offense. I think Anthony Miller can do that. That's why I think he potentially can be another first rounder. Chargers, again, I don't think the Chargers have a bunch of huge needs. Okoronkwo, edge rusher, outside linebacker, possibly from Oklahoma. You've seen some mocks him in the first round. I think he's more of a second rounder. Chargers kind of weird defense. I like their defense, but you always see Joey Bosa on the line, and the opposite side is Ingram. The guy, I mean, it's the guy sometimes on the lines, guy sometimes outside linebacker. It's really random. So I mean, it's an interesting defense. I like it. They could use another one of those guys that can play outside linebacker. Again, I like the Chargers. If they do this offseason right, Phillip Rivers doesn't all of a sudden just fall off the face of the earth. I think the Chargers can be scary next year. Jets, I haven't taken Ronald Jones, running back, USC. Ronald Jones pretty much do it all, running back. I don't expect him to get past this point. You know, some people think maybe late first, but I think second round. Jets could use another running back. I am taking Baker Mayfield, Jair Alexander, who I really like, and now Ronald Jones. That'd be a hell of a draft. Cowboys, they took a receiver in the first. Now they got to go defense. Levi Wallace, corner from Alabama. Another one of my favorite players in the draft. Very underrated. Textbook corner, does everything right. Pass deflections, interceptions. This guy's all over the place. This guy knows how to play football. He's a football player. I like him a lot. I can see Jerry Jones liking him a lot. I think he can play right now. He can play corner right now, especially as a second rounder. And some think he may go third. So surprising, very underrated. Lions, Sam Hubbard, another guy some have in the first round. So maybe too good to pass. They could use some D linemen. Got a couple free agents they got to re-sign. Ravens go another underrated guy, John Kelly, the Tennessee running back. Somewhat similar to Alvin Kamara last year, who was my 16th overall player in the draft last year. So I like Kamara and I like John Kelly. Kamara's a smarter runner. He's definitely a better prospect than Kelly, but I like Kelly a lot. Aggressive runner, fast, can really do it all. So Ravens could use another running back. Watch out for Kelly next year. Bills, Harrison Phillips, defensive tackle from Stanford. Bills got quite a few picks here. They can restore that defense here. Still pretty solid defense. Can get some younger guys in there. Maybe a replacement for Kyle Williams. Chiefs, Traquan Smith, Central Florida, receiver. A guy that I actually thought was going to go back to school. Thought all those guys were going to go back to school, the Central Florida guys, to try to get a national championship next year. Traquan Smith comes out. He's a very good receiver. He really does everything right. So I like him a lot. Good route runner, knows how to get open, can catch the ball downfield. Big reason why that Central Florida offense was very good. He's not getting a lot of talk now, but this could be a riser all of a sudden. So watch out for this guy. I think the Chiefs need another true receiver to pair with those other guys. True outside receiver, I should say. Panthers, another receiver, Deion Kane. Maybe a guy that's falling a little bit. Wide receiver from Clemson. 4.3 speed guy. Light up the combine. But kind of dropping because of lack of production. But the Panthers missed out on Ginn this year, their speed guys. So Deion Kane could be that guy for them. Bills, another receiver that I really, really like, DJ Moore from Maryland. And he's very fast, really can do it all. You can get him the ball in the backfield. He breaks tackles like a running back. And usually those guys can't really run routes or can't really get open downfield or catch the ball, and he can do that too. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with this guy being a first rounder. Another guy from Maryland that he reminds me of, Stephon Diggs, who was a fifth rounder, ends up looking like he should have been a first rounder. So I like DJ Moore a lot. I don't think he'll be a first rounder, but I wouldn't bash the pick at all. I think this guy is just a freak. Titans, Dorrance Armstrong, Kansas, edge rusher. A guy that you can see has a lot of potential. Reminds me a little bit of Danielle Hunter when he's on the line, because Danielle Hunter is always an on the line guy, but people think Armstrong can play outside linebacker as well. But Danielle Hunter was a guy that didn't have any production really. You can just see he has the ability, he has the potential. Armstrong reminds me of Hunter in that category. So I like Armstrong's potential. May drop to here because not a ton of production all the time. But Titans could use some more defense. Falcons, I talked about how I think they really need a tight end. Some might disagree, but I really think they need a tight end. Dallas Goedert, freak tight end. Some say the next Gronk. I think he's way more athletic than Gronk, maybe more like a Kelsey. He's not going to be as good as those guys, possibly, further on in his career. But I think the Falcons going to use a guy like this, just an extra threat, maybe gets Julio open some more. Niners, I've been taking an offensive lineman with their first pick. Now I got them taking a corner. They need another corner. Holton Hill, another long corner alongside Akella Witherspoon, who I like a lot. Those two guys would tear it up. Steelers, I'm taking Marcus Allen, the safety from Penn State. This is like a Steelers guy. Kind of a Dick LeBeau guy, even though he's not there anymore. But I just see him fitting into the Steelers. They could use another safety. Safeties didn't play too well against the Jaguars. I think they could use another one. This guy could also be, I think he'll be a safety, but I think also going to be a money backer type guy. So I think Marcus Allen come in there and play right away from the Steelers. Good football player. Maybe plays a little too far off the ball sometimes when it's in the air, but he's a good football player. Jags, here comes another quarterback off the board. Luke Phalke, the quarterback from Washington State. Some people like him more than others. He had a very bad game, 5-interception game, I think, this year, 4 or 5 interception. So maybe that one game is bringing him down a little bit, but good pocket passer, can let it fly. Jags can use a guy. He'd be a backup, but could use a guy like this. There was a ton of guys that I thought would come out to be second-round quarterbacks. Drew Lock, Ryan Finley, Will Greer. So surprising they went back. So this kind of leaves only one guy that could be a second-round pick is Luke Phalke. So I like the Jags maybe picking one up there, if not in the first. Vikings, offensive lineman Colton Miller, UCLA, tackle, kind of guy on the rise. Vikings offensive line was much better this year, but once again, it got beat up. They can't catch a break with that. So they could use another guy. Browns, Deshaun Hand at defensive lineman from Alabama. So many picks. At this point, you get a guy that's just too good to pass. Maybe a guy with a lot of upside. So maybe you struck gold here. So I like Deshaun Hand there. Patriots, Taven Bryan from Florida. Another D lineman for them. Could use another one. They got 2 picks in the second round. Travis McFadden and Taven Bryan. Possible second rounders. This is a long list, but I got a few here. Kaiser White, the defensive back from West Virginia, can play safety, can't play corner. Probably play in the slot, box safety maybe. This guy can hit. This guy's another guy that's just a football player. I like him a lot. Nwosu, the USC 3-4 outside linebacker, 3-4 team could pick him up earlier than this. Braden Smith, offensive lineman. I think a guy that can play guard or tackle for Auburn. So the versatility might be able to make him a second rounder. Rashad Penny, San Diego State, all-purpose guy, kick returner too. This guy, maybe another San Diego State guy, but this guy's a little different than Pumphrey. I think he's more of an NFL back, hard runner, really just does everything right. Isaiah Wynn, the Georgia offensive lineman, another guy that's on the rise. Deshaun Hamilton, the Penn State receiver, guy I like a lot. Probably should be a second rounder. Does everything right. Won't really wow in categories, but does everything right, everything you ask. Good football player. Rasheem Green, USC edge rusher, sack machine. And then Royce Freeman, the running back from Oregon. A couple years ago, I really liked Royce Freeman coming out for the future. Possible first-round running back, I thought. I think he could be a second rounder, can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. He's a good football player, good potential. Maybe the Titans pick him up for Mariota, fellow Oregon guy. I think the Titans need a running back more than people think, but I had them going with 2 defense players. But that'll do it. That'll do it for the 2-round mock. A lot of talking. Could go on forever. Senior Bowls this week, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl coming up. We're going to have our predictions videos, more mock drafts, more NFL draft coverage leading up to the draft. But that'll do it for this one.